What if I told you the very first Google search in history wasn't about celebrities, sports, or even technology? It was about something completely different, something that might surprise you. Before Google became the all-knowing giant that answers trillions of questions every year, it had to start somewhere. Just one simple query. So, what was the world's first Google search? And why did it matter? Stick around, because this story reveals not just the origins of Google, but how one small search changed the entire way we find information forever. Let's rewind to the 1990s. The internet was exploding, but it was also a mess. Imagine trying to find information online back then. It was like walking into the world's largest library, where every book was thrown onto the floor with no labels. The best search engines we had were clunky. Yahoo, AltaVista, Lycos. None of them could really figure out which websites were actually useful. They just showed you giant lists of links, often completely irrelevant. People were frustrated. The internet was supposed to be the information superhighway, but in reality, it felt like being stuck in traffic without a map. This chaos set the stage for two graduate students at Stanford University, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, to create something different, something smarter, something that would change history. In 1996, Page and Brin built a project they first called BackRub. Weird name, right? But the idea was revolutionary. Instead of just counting how many times a keyword appeared on a page, their system ranked websites based on how many other sites linked to them. In other words, it treated each link like a vote of confidence. This became known as PageRank, and it turned search into something truly intelligent. By 1998, they renamed their project to something catchier, Google, a play on the word Google, which means a 1 followed by 100 zeros. A fitting name for a search engine built to handle unimaginable amounts of information. But here's the kicker. Before it could become the powerful giant we know today, they had to test it. And that brings us to the very first Google search. According to Larry Page and Sergey Brin themselves, the very first query typed into Google was Gerhard Casper. Who was that? Not a famous actor, not a sports star. Gerhard Casper was the president of Stanford University at the time. Think about it. Page and Brin weren't just randomly searching. They wanted to test whether their new search engine could actually pull up relevant, authoritative results. And who better to test than their own university president? When they typed Gerhard Casper into their system, Google didn't just spit out random pages. It found the most credible sources related to him. That was proof their ranking system actually worked. It may have seemed small at the time, but that one search was the spark that lit the fuse for the Google revolution. Think about how symbolic that moment was. The first Google search wasn't about entertainment. It wasn't about money. It was about knowledge, about finding truth in a sea of noise. And that's exactly why Google exploded in popularity. It gave people what they actually wanted, reliable answers. From that point forward, Google wasn't just another search engine. It was the search engine, the one that could sort through the chaos and deliver the information that mattered. Today, we type in billions of queries every single day. From life-saving medical advice to silly questions like, why do cats hate cucumbers? Google has become the world's most trusted window into human curiosity. But it all started with one humble search, Gerhard Casper. So the next time you open Google and ask it a question, whether it's something serious, funny, or just random, remember, it all began with two Stanford students, a revolutionary idea, and one test query about their university president. That single search changed the course of the internet forever. If you thought that was surprising, wait until you hear about the first thing ever sold on the internet. Spoiler, it was illegal. Subscribe to the world's first so you don't miss that story, and hit the bell so you're first in line for more mind-blowing firsts from history. Thanks for watching, and let me know in the comments, what's the very first thing you remember searching on Google?